Hey, how's it going? I'm Kevin and I hope you're having a good day, but wanted to tell you a little story about a race I ran recently called Leadville. It's Leadville, Colorado, 100-mile race that has a little bit of a lot of tug of my heart, and it was a story that I'd like to capture here for you, do the best I can to tell you about it. So here goes. So the dream started several years ago, really, I'm gonna say probably 21. I put in for Leadville 100. It's an iconic race that you wonder why would someone want to run a 100-mile race, and I'm just kind of crazy enough to think that that'd be fun. And I looked at this race, and there's people that I follow, and Courtney Dauwalter, Cameron Haynes, and some people that kind of out there up and like leading the pack type of people that inspired me to think maybe I should try Leadville. And so in 21 I put in for the lottery. It's hard to get in, and I got declined. So in 22, me and my wife Leslie flew out and volunteered at the race and decided we're going to see if we get volunteer hours, if I can get in, and I was accepted for 23. So that's kind of where this story starts. And in early part of 23, I think in February or so, I got the ticket to get in, and we had to put a plan together to figure it out. So in an effort to train, I thought, well, maybe I'll just run an easy 100-miler. So we were in Florida in March and decided to run a 100-miler in Florida, of which this would have been March of 23, of which I ended up at about mile 78. It cooked me all day, and about mile 76, 78, somewhere in that window, I ended up beside the trail, 3 o'clock in the morning, throwing up, totally spent. Totally just, it was time to quit. It was either I had to find, was I crazy or was I stupid, and what was going on, and I had no pacer. And so the effort to run a 100-miler, an easy 100-miler to get ready for Leadville, I failed. Cameron, one of our sons, was also getting married that summer, so I had a failed 100, I had a wedding to take care of, and we just felt it was better for that year, for 23, just to defer. I was allowed to defer one time, so we decided to defer. I felt like I was a good ways out from being able to finish, and so I decided to push this thing off to 24 and go ahead and work on some speed stuff and try to get my speed up, and then try to grab another 100 in the spring or something to build my confidence and get ready. Fall of 23. I've deferred to 24. I decide to run the Columbus Marathon and give it my best attempt to cut speed off on marathon time, or to cut time off and to really work on speed. And I decided that Boston qualifying would be a good measure to see what I can do. And so I decided I'll run my Boston qualifying time for as many miles as I can until the wheels come off. And the day actually went half decent. The wheels never came off. I was able to hold that pace. The course ran a little long. It was right up against the wall, but I cut 20 minutes off my marathon time and was like ecstatic. November 18th, I'm playing basketball at an old man's league, and I tear my Achilles. So just following the best little run that I've ever done, best marathon time I ever had. Confidence is high. I'm getting ready for Leadville, and Leadville is really the only thing I'm thinking that matters. Everything else is just supporting Leadville. That's really what I wanted. And I tear my Achilles, and playing basketball, just remember the feelings and knowing that Leadville probably just got checked off. And I knew that Leadville was defer 1 year, use it or lose it the second year, and it was a gut punch, and to say the least. So December, I do surgery, and I remember telling my doctor, I'm in with the doctor, and I'm like, now you got to get me ready for Leadville. I got Leadville in August, and I'm going to run 100 miles over the mountains. And he looked at me like, you're crazy. Get done with surgery, and I'm in a boot. I'm just hobbling around, and I run down this rabbit hole of like literally everything you can imagine I threw at this thing. I was scraping twice a day. I was putting suction cups. Or December and January went well. Recovery was going good. I was just out of, I could put pressure on my leg. I could walk on a walking boot, and I was just around the house. I could get out of my boot. I'm 2 months into recovery, and I step on a piece of dog food right out here in the kitchen and just literally just throw myself forward, only to land full on my bad leg. And I heard it physically. The first time it popped, I didn't hear it pop. Physically heard it pop, felt it break loose, and I just crumbled to the floor. Leslie, my wife, was in Florida. I was home alone, and I just remember laying on the floor and literally just cried like a baby. I mean, I literally was a grown man, just broke down because I was so tired of this, and I knew I had just reset that whole thing again. And it sounds so stupid, it sounds so foolish, but it really, truly, at that moment, I knew, okay, this is the end. It's not gonna work. Leadville ain't gonna come together. And so back to the doctor, we check everything, sutures are all in place, don't need to do surgery again, just sit tight, stay off of it. So that turns into the months that I should have been burning miles and kind of building up. I'm literally just sitting around, and by April I start to burn some miles and churn some miles. I'm hurting, but I'm finally getting a little bit active, and it's just slow, and I'm still of the belief that is probably just not going to work. So we kind of looked at Leadville and said, what do I need to do to get that done? Because I never ran 100 miles. I had ran 60 miles several times, or 100 Ks, and number of 50 Ks, and just a lot of stuff of that nature. But I knew that Leadville was special, it was hard, it was high. Lots of altitude, lots of climbing, and fast cutoffs. So race day comes around, and we had been in Colorado. Me and Leslie spent a week and a half at Breckenridge acclimating, and I knew that I had to put my best foot forward, acclimating and all of the little things. Like, I needed all the stars to align to finish this race, and my only goal from minute one was finish, like inside of 30 hours. That's all I had, and I knew that the cutoffs were going to be stiff. So fast forward, it's race day. Get to the start line, and we were staying at an Airbnb an hour from the race, and my wife took me and dropped me off 4 o'clock. Les drops me at the race and heads back to the family, and I told him just show up at Outward Bound would be the first that I would see them. At that point, I'll be 23 miles in. So 4 a.m., race starts. We get out of the gate, and the first section is about 13 miles. That the first 3 or 4 miles is on road, and it goes into a Congo line around a lake, and this single track was slow. So I get to our first aid station, and I'm at least a half hour back from my time. I'm a little bit stressed. I'm like, ooh. And I wrote all my times on my arm so that as I'm going along, like, I knew what aid stations, what my target times were, and I was really trying to bank. I knew the race was really Hope Pass, which was mile 40 to mile 60. So from 40 to 50, 50 back to 60, the turnaround. And so I'm trying to conserve and yet bank time and make sure I have a little bit of cushion. So I remember Powerline just being a grind. It was hard downhill, and everything in me wanted to just go faster. And
the hips got smoked on that power line.
Did you go over power line already?
Yeah, everyone
So
coming in was like, oh,
Bad?
I was braking the whole time.
How are your feet doing?
Okay, at Twin Lakes,
Okay.
I want my calf sleeves,
Okay.
new socks, new shoes.
Okay.
I'll leave my shirt, yeah, those shoes right there. We'll do the same thing with Tailwind and that thing.
Okay.
Mile 23, when I met the family for the first time, and I was really feeling good. My spirits were high, and I thought, well, maybe I'll be all right. And so I was just churning aid station to aid station. Is really all I had in my head was just aid station to aid station. Don't worry about anything else. Just get there and get in there ahead of the cutoff. Coming into Twin Lakes, there's last summer I did an event with, it was a Cameron Haynes lift run shoot event in Oregon, and the gentleman that I talked to in Oregon, his name was Mitch Royer. He did all the coordinating for everything, and I get there and get to know him, and here we both grew up in Goshen, Indiana. So I made this connection with Mitch that, hey, we had some interaction and some talking and exchanged information and phone numbers, and just one of those weekends where it was kind of an inspirational weekend for me, and I got to know Mitch. Craziest thing ever. I'm at Leadville 100. Don't think I know a person there. Don't think a person knows me except for my family. I come into Twin Lakes, and literally in our tent is Mitch Royer, and I'm like, what in the world? So
Let's go.
Welcome
Hey,
back!
what's up? What's going on?
Kevin, what's up?
Dude, the world.
Dude, no way!
Let's go.
What?
No, it's okay.
This is for you.
This is the Cameron Haynes director.
No, wait, what?
I put the big.
That's awesome.
Oh my goodness. No. Okay, I need a new shirt.
Dude, they came through, the guy that was with them, like all of us knew him too.
Yeah, he's running into Matt Choi. He's a good buddy of mine. How you feeling? Yeah, not bad actually. You look great.
And so it was just one of them things that kind of God, I feel like, gifted me in that moment. Something I needed to take my mind off of the grind, something that just that little lift at the right moment, the right time. Like God was definitely in the middle of that. That's not a chance encounter. There's, close to 800 runners. They all have 4 or 5 crew people on a pile. We're talking 5,000 to 6,000 people. And Mitch, the one person that would know me, is standing in my tent. It's crazy. Kind of mind-blowing. So anyway, there was a little touch from God in the journey. And that's really what I see Leadville being. It's like a life story that if I really get into it, if you think of a lifetime, many times we think of lifetimes as 100 years. And it's interesting that this is 100 miles. And in our lives, so many times, it's like running. Some days you're running uphill and you're barely moving, and it's hard. And then other days you get to mountaintops, or you get to downhills, and it's like, it's wind in your sails, and it's just amazing. And so I feel like I went through all of these emotions, and like, this race literally is like a life story. And there's a piece of it toward the end on nutrition that I feel like is a big piece of maybe what my takeaway was from this race. And nutrition slowed down, my drinking slowed down, and we literally, those last 4 hours, I think the last hour and a half or so, we were out of water, and we just had not taken enough water with us. And so I think it's just another life lesson of just like, it doesn't matter where you're at in life and how much you know or have done or what's behind you, but to finish strong, you need your nutrition. So my headspace going into the race was I just wanted to learn more about myself. I wanted to do something that inspired others. And if you never do anything hard, how do you build your faith, or how do you get out of your comfort zone? And I was literally just working on expanding my comfort zone and hoping that there's something that I grow in, that I respect and honor God with the talents that I have, but that I also inspire others to give it their best in whatever they're doing. And that's a gift I would like to leave my kids, and I'd like to leave my family and my friends. The gift of go do it. You can do it. Try. Don't fear failure. Just put yourself out there and give it your best. Prepare to the best you know how. Do all the things you know how. And then be willing to fail and go for it.
Hard earned, even though I don't remember half of it. Somewhere out there, I did something for 30 hours. These boys drove my ass across that mountain.
Oh, sorry.
So that's the story of Leadville. I hope you enjoyed it. It's my story. It's nothing that special, but it is a touch from God that I'm going to have treasure forever. My family was close to me, lots of friends that supported me, and then just to get to do something hard and difficult and actually finish was literally more than I could ask for and more than I expected that day. And so today, when I stack it all up and say the Achilles tore, it tore again, and the emotional roller coaster, I just have nothing but thankfulness that I was able to finish. It was a blessing. The touches that are mixed in there from God along the way, dropping Mitch in there at this one spot, letting my sons run with me, just all of the things that go with that, the specialness, the beauty of the place, doing this at elevation. It was just a special time, a special place, and there's the story of Leadville. I hope you got a little something out of it. Love you. Have a good day.